Okay, my dear friends, we can start today's session. Okay. At the outset, I would like to welcome you all to the second day of the workshop. And I thank God for giving me an opportunity to speak to you again. At the beginning of the program, I would like to tell you something regarding the recorded video we plan to give. Definitely, all my dear participants, we will provide you recorded video. But you please don't hurry for it. Never hurry for it. All these technical tasks are done by a teacher who is engaging all the sessions in his normal routine and supporting the department or supporting the organizing team, working hard to give you everything possible. No doubt, we will give the videos for all the sessions, but you don't hurry about it. Okay. And one more thing to be noted is only 115 participants submitted their assignment. Many more are yet to submit your assignments. There may be some technical troubles. You may not have SPSS. Sometimes your computer may not be working, but these issues are to be solved by you yourself. If you are able to submit, do the assignments properly and submit it, you will be along with us. Try your level best to do all the tasks I'm giving so that you will be in a position to use SPSS and research methodologies so that you can do wonderful results. You can do your own PhD, publish good articles, and can definitely guide the students working under you. Okay. Wishing you very best. So I would like to move on to our today's session. Now you are watching the variable view of the questionnaire. So I'm going to the data view. You can see the data view. This is a you can see these are the entries made by the researcher. Okay, look at the sample size. You can see number as 406. That is 406 respondents have participated in this survey. This is, I have already told you, this is an original data set used by me for my PhD work. This data set is actually created in accordance with the level of understanding I have at that time. If I am preparing a data set at present, there may be some differences. Whatever it be, we are moving on to the analysis of data. Okay, my dear friends, especially to first beginners. Again, I am requesting you to write down the steps. Effectively participate in the class. Write down the steps in your book so that you will be able to practice it. Definitely, I will be giving a small data set to you today itself, so that you can do experiments. Okay, first of all, beginning with, if you want to analyze data, you go to analyze. So you can see file, edit, view, data, transform, and analyze. Analyze tab is to be used. You give a click so that you will get this. These are the different options that can be applied by you while analyzing the data. You can see reports. Actually, these are actually not used by the researchers, may be used, but very limited utility. So first of all, we are beginning with the descriptive statistics. The descriptive statistics. In descriptive statistics, you can see different options. That is the different ways of analysis you can do with the help of SPSS. Okay, the first thing is frequencies, then descriptives, then explore, then cross charts, then ratio, PP plots, and QQ plots. First of all, I would like to introduce how to use the first four, that is frequencies, descriptives, explore, and cross charts. Okay, first of all, I would like to use frequencies. Okay, you put the cursor towards frequencies and click it so that automatically another dialog box appears. So here left side shows the name of the variables you have entered in your variable view. And the right side box is the box which is to be used for putting variables which you are going to analyze. So first of all, if you are taking gender, you select if you double click, give a double click, automatically the variable will move on to the variables column. Or you select it and give a click here, then also it will move on to the variable column. Okay, residence also, if you want, you can add all the variables you require. Okay, all the variables required by you. There are different options that are available here, but I'm not using any one of them at present because I shall show each of them separately. So if this is the process I have done, what should be the outcome? So click the OK column. Okay, OK column. Immediately you can see the report. See, while looking at the gender, you can see 1 and 2. If you have entered the questionnaire, you will remember exactly what this 1 and 2 represents. Okay, this is a classification for male and female. This is the output column. The frequency tables have been generated. While looking at the first column, you can see 1 and 2. 1 and 2 stands for male and female. You know exactly what is 1 and what is 2. So while making a table in your work, you can put male and female in place of 1 and 2. Okay. While looking at the table, you can see that there are some columns which are actually not necessary. Because if you look at the percent, we have percent 66.7 and 33.3. In valid percent also 66.7 and 33.3. In cumulative percent also it is there. We need only 1% column, one frequency column. Here, the left side, you can use it as male or the gender, then frequency and percent. My dear friends, look at the second column, that is age of the respondents. That is 1, 2, 3, and 4 stands for the code you have actually given. You have to include the original age, that is up to 25, 26 to 40, and so on in the first column. The frequencies are to be put there as such. Then the percentage will be the same percentage that is given. You don't want to take valid percent and cumulative percent. Okay, in this is the way by which we have to generate the frequency tables. Okay, so again, we are moving on to the original data set. Okay, I hope you got an idea about how to take the descriptive statistics. The process I would like to explain once again. Go to analyze, click on it. You get descriptive statistics. In descriptive statistics, you need frequencies. Okay. Suppose if you don't want one item, you click it and reverse it so that it will go back. Okay. This is the process. So take one item to, if you give double click, automatically the variable will come. You simply click on OK, another page will appear with the table, so that it will be very easy for you to generate the frequency tables of all the variables you are actually studying. Okay, so that I'm leaving from this part, moving on to another, that is, now I would like to tell you how to take cross charts, that is cross tabulation. How is it possible? Definitely I will tell you about descriptives and explore, but the process is, the step-by-step process, learning process is to learn cross tabbing. Okay, so cross tab. Once again, I would like to explain that. Analyze, click on it, descriptive statistics, come to cross tabs, click on it. So you will get a dialog box like this. Here you can see the row and column. That is, which variable we are actually taking two variables together for constructing a table. Two variables together for constructing a frequency table, so that which variable should appear as a row and which variable should appear as column must be stated by you. Say for example, if I am putting age as a row and gender as column. Okay. Then the age will appear in column form and the gender, male and female, will appear in age will appear as row and gender will appear as column. Then there are some tables. One thing is, if you click on statistics, you can see the possible ways, the possibilities. What are the possible statistics that can be generated? I have already told you, since these two variables, that is age and gender, these two variables are demographic variables. We are not expected to do any statistical operations on that. No need for that. We don't have such an objective. So you can calculate coefficient chi-square. You can calculate correlation. You can calculate some tools which you may not have even heard. Okay, don't worry about it. We will learn all tools here, but the given variables, that is gender and age, are not suitable for any statistical operations. So we are leaving, that is, we simply cancel it. Okay, and take cells. This is important. This is actually important, especially the percentage column. Along with, now we have rows and columns. So you have to specify on what basis percentages are to be calculated. Are you need percentage on a row basis or on column basis or on total basis? We can test one by one. Okay, if I take a row basis, you simply click on it. Okay, then continue, then give OK. See, This is the table. Okay, this is the table. And one more thing I would like to tell you is, we have two different tables here. One is a case processing summary, and the other is age and gender cross tabulation. Age and gender cross tabulation. Okay, case processing summary is also important, not for analysis, but for ensuring the accuracy. You always look at the missing cases. You ensure that missing cases will be 0. That is, not even a single cell is left over. The valid columns, n is 406. I have already told you that this 406 represents the sample size. That means 406, that is 100% of the sample or the data are valid. Nothing is actually missed out, so that the table given here is usable to you. Otherwise, if there are some numbers in missing cases, you have to revisit your data set and find the places where the mistakes happen. Okay, we have given code 1 and 2 for gender. Sometimes by mistake, you may enter 3 or 4. So for example, 3 is very close to 2. While data entry time, you may put 3 in place of 2. Automatically, the system will record 3 in place of 2, but it will not count it as male or female. So that becomes a mistake. So you always look at the case processing summary, whether there is any missing item or whether there is any item which is not given as code number. Okay, there may be some mistakes while data entry time. Okay, you look at this table. Left side actually shows 1, 2, 3, 4. This stands for what? The first group of age stands for 1. While making a table by yourself, you definitely will write here as age, and original age you intended for 1 will be placed here. 1, that is up to 25, 26 to 40, 41 to 55, and above 55, and so on. You will put. Okay, look at. I have given, while cross tabulation, I have given a percentage tick. That is, I have given row, percentage for row. You can see, while you can see the total here, in case of all these, this becomes 100. That means the first age group, say for example, if it is up to 25, there are 43 respondents. There were 43 respondents in the first age category. Out of them, 28 belongs to first, that is male, and 15 belongs to female. Okay, that is the meaning. That means 65.1% of the first categories, that is up to 25 category, represents male, and 34.9% are female. That is the meaning. Actually, you have to select the person column, whether cell, whether row or column. That depends on your requirement. If you want a row percentage, you put row. Otherwise, if you want gender-wise total, then you take column. Here, the 1 stands for male and 2 stands for female, so that if you want 100% here in total, then you have to put percentage for column. Okay, we can have a trial based on that too. Okay, look at this here. So we can have another option. Analyze, descriptive statistics, then go to crosstalks. Okay, we can take another example here. age and gender already done twice. So we are moving on to the annual income and type of bank. Annual income and type of bank. These are two variables. Okay. Take cell. Okay. Here it is row. In place of row, if we give column, what will happen? That is to be tested. Okay. Give okay. See this. You see this? Case processing summary, 100% is valid. See, annual income is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. There are 5 different classes for annual income. These are the code numbers. While writing the original work, you can place the original income in place of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the code names of bank type is given 1, 2, 3, 4. That indicates the first one is for SBI and associates. Second one is old generation public sector banks. Third one is old generation private sector banks. And the fourth one is new generation banks. Okay, we have actually given percentage for column. Look at the column total, the percentages. Everywhere it is 100. That means you will be able to speak about each type of bank, the customers, each type of the bank's customers on the basis of their level of income. So it is clear that 48.3% of the respondents of State Bank of India belongs to the first category, of income. That may be up to 2 lakh or up to 1 lakh and so on. That is at least the lowest level of income. And 30.8% have that second class of income and so on. And the richest class of income people who are actually the customers of State Bank of India are very limited. That is only 4.2% of the customers of SBI belongs to income level, the highest income level, that is above 8 lakh. That is the thing. And you can see similar in case of old generation private sector banks. That is, in case of old generation private sector banks, 32.3% are belonging to the least income category. 43.7% category classes people actually coming in second category and so on. Only 3.2% are in the highest income. Okay, that is the case. And if you look at the last class, you can see that is the new generation customers of new generation banks. 28.6% belongs to the first income class, 31% belongs to the second class, 11.9% belongs to the next class, and 16.7% of their customers are the richer class. This itself shows that there are some sort of differences between customers of different bank groups on the basis of their level of income. This should be the way of presentation while making interpretation. Definitely, I will show you how to write the interpretation. Now you are to concentrate on how to generate output columns, how to analyze the data, and how to take it into the original work of the researcher. You always remember, my dear friends, even though we have data with us, or the analyzed data with us, we are not going to use the data as such. First of all, you can select this. A file can be Okay, you can select, simply click it. You can copy this, then you can take it to another Word file and paste it, and then you have to make a table according to your convenience. That is the process. Once again, you simply click it, select it, then again copy it. You can take it to a Word file and paste it there. Then also you remember, please don't use this table as such, because if you are using this table in the Word format, it's easily people who know about SPSS know that you haven't done anything as your own. You have to make your own table in the Word. And after making your table, you can delete this table from the Word file, and you can have your own table, so that it will be very easy for you to operate. Otherwise, there are so many columns in between, and if you take this table as is, definitely it will create some problems to you while entering some other information in your file. Okay. My dear friends, especially the beginners, don't be afraid, don't be tensed, be very careful, follow the steps. I would like to tell you once again, similar operation can be done. Okay, descriptive statistics. I am going to analyze descriptive statistics, then cross chart. Automatically, you get different variables here. Okay, suppose if you want to cancel this, you make a double click. Automatically, it will go back. That's all. Okay, if you want to take a cross table based on type of bank and the length of relationship. Okay, then type of bank can be a row, length of relationship can be column. Actually, it is your choice, and no one else is there to dictate you. You can put it in the reverse order also. That is, a length of relationship can be a row, and type of bank can be column, depending upon the convenience. That is how beautifully you can present data. That is the question before putting, or at the time of putting row and a column. Nothing else. Okay. You can use cell. Okay. Can use the column. Suppose if we are using total, we can use both also, but it will create, when we have more than one, there will be some troubles. It will be difficult to understand. So I take one, the only one, that is total. Continuing. Okay. So now you put, okay. You can see type of bank here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the length of relationship here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is up to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, above 10 years, and so on. Okay. When we put total percentage, there will be only 100, only 100, only in one cell. That is the grand total column. Grand total column. Okay. If you have a look at this, you can make some sort of interpretation regarding the association between type of bank and the length of relationship. Here, type of bank stands for SBI and its associates. If you look at the first row, you can see the percentage of customers and the length of relationship together. That is percentage of customers of SBI and their length of relationship. You can see 3.2% of the customers of SBI, 3.2% of the total customers of belongs to SBI. Belongs to SBI. This stands for one, that is type of bank, that is actually SBI. 3.2%. of the customers belonging to the sample are having length of relationship up to 3 years. Once again, if you look at the total column of the first row, you can see a percentage that is 35.2%. That indicates 35.2% of the total sample are customers of State Bank of India and its associates. You always remember, I'm always saying associates, because at the time of collecting data, there were associate banks. Now it is not there. But at the time of collecting, it was there. That's why I'm saying associates. The meaning is 35.2% of the customers of State Bank of India, 35.2% of the total sample are customers of State Bank of India. And if you go through the percentages, you can see more number of customers of State Bank of India, or majority of the customers of State Bank of India are having the highest length of relationship, that is more than 10 years or more than 15 years and so on, depending upon the code. So if you look at the row, you will get information about a particular bank and the length of relationship. If you look at the column from top to bottom, you will get the length of relationship, information regarding length of relationship based on different types of banks. Okay, if you look at the maximum length of relationship, you can see only 3%, only 0.7% of the total sample are having the maximum length of relationship and belonging to the new generation private sector banks. That is, the minimum number of customers of new generation banks have the maximum length of relationship. That is the kind of observation you are getting. Okay, this kind of observations can be put in place of the description or the analysis below this particular table. Okay, I hope you have some sort of understanding about this cross tabulation. I have already explained to you two different types of analysis, that is frequencies and descriptives. Actually, explore and crosstabs have, I have explained frequencies and crosstabs. I haven't told you anything about descriptives and explore. We have to introduce something more, because the application of descriptives and explore will come only at that particular stage. Whatever be, I have already explained it to you about the ranking, how to analyze the ranking and so on. I have already told you the ranking type of questions are actually not so commonly used in standard research instruments, because the possibility of making analysis is comparatively limited. So we have introduced another method, another thing for avoiding the. We can use another type of questionnaire for avoiding the ranking. That too I will explain to you later. Okay, I hope you can see. You can see this. In the first questionnaire, actually, I have explained so many variables. Many variables, that is physical factors, qualitative factors, and so on. And the respondents were actually asked to rank them. While going through the analysis, or after conducting the analysis, I found that the utility of that type of question is actually very limited. Definitely we can use it, but if you want to some better way of analysis, better tools of analysis, you have to look for some other question. So I am sharing you another way of making analysis when you want to do something like a ranking. This is an alternative for ranking. Okay, you see here, You can read the description here. Following are factors motivating customers to consider a bank as his or her primary financial service provider. You are requested to rate the factors on the basis of the importance you have given. Selecting your primary financial service provider on a 7-point scale, ranging from highly important to least important. Okay. In case of a ranking, the respondent is required to make all possible combinations to identify which one is more important. But in this case, the respondent is not expected to compare between. The respondent is expected to look at a particular item and mark how far it is important. I have actually tried my level best to identify the different factors that motivated the customers to consider a particular banker as the primary financial service provider. You know that people have bank accounts with different banks, Say for example, in my own case, I have an account with State Bank of India. I have an account with Punjab National Bank. Similarly, I have an account with South Indian Bank and so on. Suppose if you ask me which banker is your primary financial service provider, the decision is to be taken considering so many factors. I have gone through the literature and found some important factors that are actually considered by people in the selection of a primary financial service provider. This much, there are some qualitative factors, there are some facilities, there are some human-related factors. All these are important. So I want to know exactly which one is important. And after collecting information regarding this, you can make a ranking. So if this is the case, how to analyze? That is the question. That is our issue. So we are actually looking for the next 10 minutes, we will be analyzing, making analysis on this. So you look at this, there are several factors. There are several factors here. All these factors are actually taken from literature. And I want to know what are the factors actually considered by people in Kerala for selecting a particular banker as their primary financial service provider. Okay, there are so many possible ways of analysis for this kind of questions, but I would like to introduce one. Okay, now we can see a data set. How to analyze the question I have already shown to you. So go on to analyze. Okay, descriptive statistics. If we take descriptives, what will come? That is the first one. Then explore is also another option. These two can be done with the help of such questions. Okay. Once again, I would like to explain to you. Go to analyze, descriptive statistics. Then we are moving on to descriptives. Or we can go for explore also, no problem. First of all, we are taking descriptives. Okay. These are the variables. So many variables are there. You can select one by one, or you can select together. I'm trying my best to select together. Okay. Shift and select together. All the variables are here. Okay, go to options here. What all statistics you need? Everything will be there. If you want mean, you give a click. Standard deviation. These are default settings. If you whatever you want, you put it, you will get. Here it is standard deviation, minimum, maximum. You can put variance, range, and so on. If you want skewness and kurtosis, that also will be there. No problem. Then display order. How you need the analyzed data? That is the question. How you need the analyzed data? Whether you need in the on the basis of the variable list, that is the variable we are actually given. Then you don't want to do anything, you put continue. You give continue. Otherwise, you can give in alphabetic order. There is no use at all. So don't give alphabetic. You can give ascending order or descending order. So you remember, if ascending or descending means ascending mean or descending mean, you have to decide which one is actually required. That depends on your scale. We have used the 7-point scale where 7 stands for most important or highly influencing. So the mean will be high when the respondent is giving maximum score. So if you take on the basis of descending order, that is from top to bottom, you will get variables listed on the basis of the highest mean to the least mean. That is the thing. So I'm giving descending order. So continue and then give OK. You can see this. How much statistics have been generated out of this? This much statistics is generated within a fraction of a second. Within a fraction of a second. I have used another data set, so the N is 566. 566. Okay, you can see range of all. The minimum score, maximum score, mean. Actually, this arrangement is variable is actually arranged on the basis of this mean. You can see that highest mean is 6.1537. That is for excellent e-banking facilities. Then the next one is 6.141. That is for always working ATM. Then another one is the next one is 6.141. That is fully automated environment. And the next one will be high speed and clean ATMs. You can have an inference about it. What make or what influence people at present in the selection of a primary banker. The first four factors that are actually considered by the people include excellent e-banking facilities with mean score 6.15, always working ATMs, fully automated environment, high speed and clean ATMs. These are the first 4 factors that are coming as the most important factors influencing the customers in the selection of a primary financial service provider. That means technology is the most important factor that is influencing people in the selection of a primary service provider. You can see statistics regarding skewness, kurtosis, variance, standard deviation, and so on. Okay. Whatever you need can be taken. At the time of making analysis, whatever you need should be taken into account. If you look at the mean, you can see the variables are arranged in the order of mean, and the good interior decoration, number of cash counters, fast redressal mechanism, all these are coming as the last factors. Not so important. Not so important. After the technological factors, you can see ability of the staff to provide quick service, skill of the staff to deal with technology, professionalism of the branch manager, knowledge of the staff. These are actually factors related to the employees. Okay, so technology and the quality of the employees are the most important factors actually influencing people to select their primary financial service provider. That is the finding we can see. Okay, while choosing these, you have to decide what is actually required, whether you need range, whether you need N or minimum, maximum, variance, skewness, kurtosis. Only those that are actually required by you are to be taken, are to be chosen at the time of analysis. Okay. Okay, that's all about the analysis part for the day. Now we are moving on to another session. Actually, now we are looking at what we have actually done. What we have actually discussed so far. We have created a variable view in SPSS. We also studied how to enter data in data view. And we have studied now how to generate the output, that is how to analyze. These are the three things we have studied so far. Okay, we have collected data on the basis of a research instrument that we call it as questionnaire. And the questionnaire is actually made on the basis of our objectives, isn't it? The questionnaire is actually made on the basis of our objectives. And our objectives are actually made on the basis of the title of the study we have framed. And the title of the study and objectives are actually based on the research problem we have actually formulated. Research problem. And we have identified the research gap. On the basis of the research gap, we have formulated research problem. And the research gap is identified with the help of review of literature. Now see, in your classrooms, you are teaching and you have learned research methodology. Actually, the methodology applicable for a researcher in practice. There are some differences between the practice and the theory we are actually following. So we have collected data on the basis of a research instrument, and the instrument is made on the basis of our objectives, and the objectives are based on three things, that is the research problem and research gap, and all these happen only because of the review of literature. So if you go back, that is from the last to the first one, you can see a step-by-step process of research. That is, this is actually the practical research process. That is, you have to undertake a decent review of literature. That will help you to identify the research gap. That help you to formulate your research problem. And again, it will help you to fix the title of the study. And it will help you to fix your objectives. And it will enable you to make a research instrument. Okay, the first step in the research process, that is the practical research process, is the review of literature. You might have studied that identifying the research problem is the first and the foremost step in the research process, but Practically, if you want to do a high-end work, you have to do an extensive review of literature to identify the research gap and to develop a research problem and make the title of the study you are going to undertake. And on that basis, you will be able to make your objectives and develop your research instrument. So you have to follow this. So we are going to discuss in detail these aspects so that then only we will be able to move on to another step in the analysis process. Okay, something about the title of the research work. There are so many queries, so many doubts regarding how to make a research, the title of a research work, and what are the points to be remembered. The first thing to be remembered by a researcher while developing a research work is that it must convey the research problem. And the second important point to be remembered is that the research title, the title must be attractive and exhibit importance of the study. It must show how important the study is. That is very, very important. And there should be a direct link between the overall objectives and the title. Always remember, when you are fixing the title for your study, the objectives of your study must be very clearly linked to the title. That is very, very important. And another question is how many objectives are required and what are the basis of framing the objectives. You remember, while speaking about the basis of framing objectives, the objectives must be directly related to the research problem stated. The first thing is you have done an extensive review of literature. Read and read. Try to collect maximum number of high-end articles, high-end research works, PhD theses, and understand what is actually done by people. On that basis, you find a research gap and you develop a research problem. On the basis of the research problem, you find develop some research questions, and the questions will be translated into the form of research objectives. That is the usual way of doing a research. And the objectives definitely must be closely linked to the title of the study. Then should be based on the research gap identified. Objectives should be very closely related to the gaps identified. You have to study a particular fact, or you have to study a particular, you try to find a problem to an area which is not properly covered by previous researchers. That is what the research gap is actually meant. Okay, then should deserve real research to address the objectives. This is very, very important because I am now discussing with several people regarding their research issues. And I'm actually attending pre-submission seminars and public vivavocy and so on. When I listen to some presentations, what I feel is that some of the objectives fixed by some people are not at all deserving a research. The answer to the question is readily available even without conducting a real research. What is the need for conducting such a research that or fixing such an objective? So if you have one objective, that should be thoroughly studiable. Otherwise, please don't put it as an objective. Objective should be very, very important. So you should identify the research gap. That is the areas where the previous researchers haven't explored, and so that you should try to resolve the problems related to such areas. Then you will be able to come up with good results. Okay, now we are moving on to the review of literature. When speaking about review of literature, some questions are usually asked. What is the significance? For what purpose review is being done? And what kind of literature to review? Then what kind of reading is required? These are very important. First of all, I would like to tell you something about the last two questions. That is, what kind of literature to review and what kind of reading is required. My dear friends, these are at most important. If you are interested in doing a high-end research, a good quality research, the kind of review you are making decides the quality of your work. Always remember, the kind of review you are making determine the quality. If you are conducting an excellent review of literature, you will become a master in that topic. You definitely will become a master in that topic. You, first of all, you have to read those articles which are actually, those works which are actually done by the pioneers in that area. Say, for example, I have conducted my research in customer relationship management. First of all, I have my guiding teacher, Dr. Gabriel Simon Tuttle, sent me, even before registration of my PhD, my guiding teacher sent me to National Institute of Bank Management, Pune, where there are a large number of journals, physical journals are available. At that time, internet was not so common. Physical journals were there. A very big library where there are more than 4,000 journals coming every month. Whenever I came there and gave my topic, people there give me a printed material with around 17 pages, including articles related to my areas of study. But the thing is that you have to identify the journals, physical journals, not e-journals, physical journals, identify the articles, you can read it. Photocopying is restricted to 25 pages per day per person. Imagine if you want to have 250 pages of photo set, you have to stay there for 10 days. That was the situation. Okay, so you have to read it. So I have discussed with some experts in the field of customer relationship management and banking in that institute. They are actually running a PGDM in bank management. They are actually giving training to top class executives of banking. So I have conducted some interactions with experts there. Some of them advised me to read some authors. One is Jagdish N. Seth, an Indian author, who is considered as the world #1 management guru at that time. And another one is Morgan and Hunch, who has published a wonderful article in the field of customer relationship management, which is widely cited by all researchers across the globe. So people there advised me to review the articles prepared by top class authors. I have obeyed. Again, I have, after some time, after some years, after 2-3 years, I have visited Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. There also I have conducted interview with or interactions with the people there, marketing professors there. They also suggested me to read only top class journals, that is ABCD journals, A category journals. You read only A category journals and the quality of your reading will be better. So I got the opportunity to read almost all leading authors across the globe, so that the theoretical base of the study undertaken by me, theoretical base widened. So the kind of reading literature to review should be very important. It is very important. You have to remember this important factor. It's very important in the sense that the original works of the original authors, the pioneering authors, are very important, because such authors actually give you clues for thinking. And what kind of reading is required? Will you be able to understand everything in a single reading? This is a question. Are you able to understand everything in a journal article from a single reading? Based on my capacity, I have read some key articles more than 20-25 times because I want to understand something out of it. They have used statistical tools which were actually not known to me at that time. And the way in which they are putting theory, the way in which they are placing the precise problem, the way in which they are placing the importance of the study, these are actually different from the normal reading I have. My track record was actually poor at that time. So I have read more than 20-25 times several articles, several series articles. Then only I got some ideas out of such articles. Okay, so the primary purpose of a review of literature, that is the outcome of review of literature. Primary outcome of review of literature is identifying the research gap. If you are reading something about financial behavior of human beings, especially the poor or the marginalized or a particular class or community, or the money attitude of people, or the personality characteristics of people, you have to identify the research gap. The only possible way is to make extensive review of literature. Okay, then the most important advantage or the outcome of review of literature is you will be familiar with the theoretical base. There are strong theoretical bases for so many things, my dear friends. If you are doing a work on brand loyalty, you know that brand loyalty is a concept in marketing. And you have studied something about brand loyalty. You have to understand in detail the different aspects that are connected with brand loyalty. For that, you need to have a very detailed reading about the brand loyalty, its predictors, its outcome, and so on. Okay, this is possible simply by a strong reading. There are so many books in the field of brand loyalty. There are some exceptionally good works published in Journal of Marketing by American Marketing Association, Journal of Marketing, International Journal of Marketing Research, Academy of Management Research. These are the top class journals. If you go through the such journals, you will be able to identify the theoretical base of the work you are actually conducting. Depending on the choice of the journal depends on the area you are actually working. In case of behavioral finance, some behavioral finance journals are there. In case of marketing or general management or HR, the class of journals actually depends on the subject also. So you have to identify superior class journals for reference. You will be able to have a very strong theoretical understanding if you make a very good review of literature. Another outcome is you will be familiar with the types of research done in your area of work. This is very important, especially for the pioneers in the field, the beginners in the field of research. Familiarity with the type of research. While reading different articles done by different people, you will be able to understand what type of research, exploratory research or analytical research or empirical research or the lab type research, what kind of research is being conducted by people in your area. That is possible only through reading. And another very important thing is you will be familiar with the methodology adopted by great researchers. Great researchers have great methodology. So we are familiar with methodologies that are adopted by people around us. So if you are able to adopt a methodology which is not familiar here or which is superior than that usually used by researchers here, then your work will be considered as better. So familiarity with the methodology adopted by great researchers will give you a special edge. And familiarity with the tools of analysis. I have identified many statistical tools from the works done by great researchers. While going through the articles, you may face great difficulty. While the authors say something about this is the tool, the probit, lobit, and so on, several statistical tools are being applied, then you have to write down the tools suggested by people, and you have to see in which circumstance a particular tool is being applied. That is important. That is also important. In which circumstance, for what purpose a particular tool is applied, and what are the requirements for applying such a tool. That is also that can be understood only from reading top class journals and familiar with the style of reporting. Remember, my dear friends, young researchers especially, style of reporting is very important. The style of reporting adopted by top class researchers, if you can imitate, or if you can try to imitate such authors, then the quality of reporting, quality of articles generated by you, produced by you, will be comparatively better. And about the post-review position of a researcher, we have already discussed about the review of literature and its purpose. Now we see, after completing a proper review of literature by a researcher, what will be the position of that researcher, or what the researcher is going to gain out of it. That is the thing to be understood. After completing a proper review of literature, you have the research problem with you. You will have the research problem with you. That is important. Very, very important, because you will identify the research gap. You will make a good research problem. Okay, you can finalize. If you have the research problem with you, you will be able to finalize your objectives. You always remember, my dear friends, you always remember that there is a connectivity between research problem and your objectives. Only after writing the research problem, you can go for designing your objectives. The problems are to be studied, and they are expressed in the form of statements. That is what is known as objectives. So that kind of connectivity is possible only after doing a proper review of literature. Okay, you are now familiar with all theories related to your study. There are several theories related to almost all domains. So while going through different works done by great researchers, they will be referring different theories, and you will be able to trace what is this theory and so on, so that you have a good understanding about all the theories related to the area of your work. Or you have sometimes there may not be any theory related to your work. Sometimes if the study is such a case, such a category, then you know the history related to your area of research. You will be very, very much familiar with the history of the research undertaken in the area in which you are actually conducting the work. So for example, if you are doing a work in customer service in banking, or personality characteristics and behavior of people in investing, credit management, and so on, whatever be it, you will be able to understand who has conducted a particular study and what are the methodologies adopted and so on. Okay, and you know the type of study you are expected to undertake. Now you, after conducting proper review, you exactly know the type of study you are expected to undertake. Okay, this is also very important thing. Are you going for an exploratory, or are you going for an analytical study, or empirical study? The kind of study you are expected to undertake can be understood from the review of literature. Okay, you know the methodology, I have already told you, and you know the tools of analysis to be adopted. This gives you a special edge. Since you have gone through the works done by different authors, you know the methodology very much. You know the tools of analysis to be adopted by you. Okay, so that means you have a clear research objective. You have a research problem with you. You have you know the type of study you are expected to undertake. You know the methodology to be adopted by you. You know the tools of analysis. That means if you are in such a position, you simply imagine if you are at this particular position, there will be clarity in your mind regarding your study. While making your research instrument, you will be very clear what will be the question, what are the questions to be raised, and for each question, what kind of analysis is to be done, what methodology is to be adopted for collecting the data and for reporting the data. Everything will be very, very clear. So you will be blessed. If this is the case, if this is an ideal case, if this is the case, you will be a blessed researcher, no doubt. Okay. Now, if this is the position, you are now able to come up with expected interlinkages between the variables. So you know the problem, you know the variables, you know the interlinkages between the variables. So that means you have your hypothesized research model with you. Now, if this is the case, you have the hypothesized research model with you. That is the case. If you have the hypothesized research model with you, you can make an instrument. You can go for an instrument. You always remember, a research instrument is to be made only after conducting proper study and deciding the strategy to be followed, that is the methodology to be followed. And a research instrument, we know that it is actually classified into two parts. Part one actually deals with the socio-demographic information that we have already discussed in last class. Today also we have analyzed the socio-demographic information like age of the respondent, social community of the respondent, income level of the respondent, and the length of relationship. All those actually represents the socio-demographic information. And part two actually related with the questions based on objectives. You may have objectives, or definitely you will have objectives, and part two of the question will the questionnaire or the instrument will be based on the objectives only. My dear friends, I am introducing before you two objectives for which I have developed an instrument which is already given to you. Okay, which is actually being given to you from my study. This is from my study, the original objective. I have used the two research instruments. One was actually meant for the banking officials, that is managers and assistant managers. Another one was meant for the customers. That questionnaire is shared with you. I am speaking about that. For that questionnaire, I had two objectives. The first objective related to that questionnaire is to measure the customer relationship management strength and customer loyalty. That is the specific objective. It also aims to assess change in CRS. CRS stands for customer relationship strength and loyalty based on demographic features of customers, their length of relationship with banks and the bank groups with which they are dealing. The main thing is the first sentence, that is to measure the customer relationship strength and customer loyalty. I want to measure two things, that is relationship strength of the customers with their banks and their loyalty. And the second is to test the dependence of customer loyalty on CRS and to identify the components of CRS having a significant impact on customer loyalty. Okay, these are the two objectives in mind at the time of making the questionnaire which is shared with you. That is, you have already created a variable view for that questionnaire. Okay. So now arises a question, what we have to measure, what we are actually expected to measure. In our objectives, we spoke about CRMO, that is customer relationship management orientation. In another study, the issue may be the credit behavior of a customer. In another study, it may be the brand loyalty of a customer, and so on. In my study, I'm expected to, or I was expected to measure CRMO. Now arises a question: if you want to measure the CRMO, what are its components? Are there any components for it? Now, if there are some components, from where I will get it? That's the question. From where shall I get it? Definitely, I have already told you, review of literature is the answer. So I have conducted a review of literature. On that basis, I have identified components of CRMO. On the basis of the components of CRMO, I built up CRM or computed CRM. Now arises a question: is review of literature alone is enough? Is review of literature alone is enough for identifying the components of CRM? Whatever be the study, you imagine your own study, is the review of literature alone is enough for identifying the different components? My personal experience is that no, it is not. Review of literature alone cannot give you or cannot finalize the components. Why I am saying so? It is because of my experience. Let me share my experience experience related to the designing of questionnaire. While designing questionnaire, before designing questionnaire, I have identified the research gap. I have fixed my objectives. I have decided to measure CRMO and identify the components. While going through the literature, I found that there are 6 different components for CRM, according to different authors, leading authors. One Chinese author, one American author, one Australian author, so many internationally acclaimed researchers in the field of customer relationship marketing. In their paper, they have made their models on the basis of 6 different components. The components are named as trust, bonding, empathy, personalized communication, shared value, and reciprocity. These are the 6 different components as per my review of literature. You my dear friends, I have made some statements and I have prepared a write-up about customer components of customer relationship management. And there is a process called content validation. A process called content validation, you might have heard about it. The instrument, somebody else who are experts in the field in which you are doing research must validate your instrument. The content, the questions incorporated in your research instrument should be identified as good or sufficient by some people having expertise in the field. I have selected 10 bank managers from Chanagancherry, Tiruvalla, and Alappuzha. And even now I remember a bank manager of Bank of Baroda in Chanagancherry, Kurishimudu branch. You know, the Bank of Baroda branch, it's a small branch, but there are so many customers. The manager is facing so many difficulties. to manage the customers. But the manager actually agreed me to come to his office at a particular time. And he spent with me almost 2 hours discussing about different components I have to use for my instrument. There are some other, I'm also remembering Mr. Manoj, manager, a young manager of Punjab National Bank. He also supported me a lot. Manager of Bank of Baroda very strongly resisted against reciprocity. He said that reciprocity is a component of customer relationship marketing and management, but that is not applicable to banking. That is mutual giving and taking. Bank officials are not expected to take any benefit from their customers. So reciprocity will not work in case of banking. I have after some time I have shared this opinion with other managers also. They also compelled me to discard reciprocity from my model. So I came up with a model with only 5 different components. That's why I'm saying this review may give theoretical understanding about the subject you are actually dealing, but you have to take into account the practical phenomenon also. The practical aspects are to be taken into account. If I was reluctant to go and meet the bank managers with my questionnaire, I will have 6 components, and the 6th component will not be accepted or will not be might have been questioned by experts. So you always remember, you have to make interactions with people who are actually related to the practice of the study you are actually undertaking. Say, for example, if you are conducting a study regarding retail marketing, you have to meet the managers of some retail shops. You have to meet the customers who are actually really going to retail shops. Then you have to discuss things with them, not the exact theory. So they will give you a deeper understanding, deeper understanding about the area you are actually planning to do. That's very important. One more point I would like to tell you during this evening is the content, that was the basic content validation process I have applied. I have applied a 3-phased content validation process. The first one was meeting and discussing with bank managers and some customers who are frequently visiting banks. And the second is, I have made a document explaining the 5 different components theoretically, and the statements I have prepared for measuring 5 different components. Say, for example, I have 6 different statements for measuring trust. Trust was the first component. I have 6 different components. I have theoretically explained what is trust and what is trust in case of banking and what does it imply, and gave the statements. And I have selected 2 sets of experts. One is the academic experts. I have selected 6 experts, 6 expert teachers in the field of commerce and management. Thankfully, remembering great teachers, Dr. S. Kevin, Gabriel Simon Tuttle, Dr. K. Shashikumar, Dr. Stephen Matthews, Dr. Girish, and so on. They have actually reviewed, and they were asked to rate my statements on a 3-point scale. And I have adapted only those statements which are expressed as most important by 5 out of 6 teachers. So I was able to reduce the number of statements in my instrument. So this kind of processes are to be adopted by you at the time of making a research instrument. And at the same time, I have approached a student of mine who is working with a consultancy firm. He has arranged the review of my research instrument by 6 service process consultants. They also review, and on that basis, again, I have reduced the size of my research instrument. Then the research instrument became very cute, ready for the measurement. Okay, that is the kind of exercise you have to follow if you are planning to do a quality research work. Okay, let me. Okay, let me introduce a table here. We are actually speaking about scales. Theoretically, there are different varieties of scales. I don't want to speak anything about different scales you are studying theoretically. Usually, the researchers in the field of commerce and management are using Likert scale, maybe 5 point or maybe 7 point. Sometimes it may be 10 point and so on. I would like to introduce some scales which are actually used by people. In the next session also, I will come up with more scales so that you will be able to understand exactly what is a scale and how the scaling is to be done. I will not tell you anything about theoretical aspects of scale. When you can see this scale, that is, this scale is actually used for measuring trust on internet bank. This is a scale developed and published by Harris and Wood in the year 2004 in a leading journal, International Journal of Bank Management. But trust on internet bank. If you are also doing a work on internet banking, and if you want to measure trust on internet banking, the same instrument or the same scale can be used for measuring the trust on internet banking. So you look at the there are a number of statements applied in this scale. There are 5 different statements in this scale. And this is a 5-point scale ranging from strongly agree to strongly disagree. Okay. The question coming to your mind, especially to the beginners, from where will we get these statements? If you are making a scale for the first time, from where will we get the statement? You have to read the theoretical base. Say, while reading trust, there are a lot of theoretical base for trust. And on the basis of theoretical base, you will get different variables related to trust. And you are expected to translate or to make or to develop in the form of a statement. So the first statement here is there are no limits to how far this internet bank will go to solve the problem I may have. And the second is that this internet bank is genuinely committed to my satisfaction. So the marking on this scale definitely will give a clue about how to have a numerical measurement of the term of the variable trust. Say, for example, take some examples. Suppose imagine you are actually filling up a questionnaire with this scale. Suppose there is no limits to how far this internet bank will go to solve a problem I may have. You are expected to select one option, that is either strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. Suppose if you are putting agree, agree in case of first statement, and this internet bank is genuinely committed to my satisfaction. So you feel it is strongly agree, then take it. So you complete the filling up of, you fill up all the 5 questions. Now the arise a question how to compute the value of trust on internet bank. So see, if you have given a mark agree for the first statement, the number, the number that is represented by agree will be 4. This is a 4-point scale. Strongly agree will get 5, agree will get 4, neutral will get 3, disagree will get 2, and strongly disagree will get 1. That is the case. Sometimes it may be, on the other hand, it may be 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. Okay, no problem at all. So if we are using 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, then if you are putting agree in case of first statement, the score will be 4. And in the second case, you are putting strongly agree, score will be 5. So 4 plus 5 is 9. So in the third one, if you are giving 4, then 5, then 4, or then 5 itself. So you have to compute, or you have to take the total. You have to take the total of the scores for the entire 5 statements. The maximum possible score is limited to 25 here, because there are only 5 statements and there are only 5 options. The highest option, the numerical value of the highest option is 5. So the maximum score is 25 and the minimum score is 5. So you calculate a value. Say for example, if it is 21, that is a summated score of this scale. The summated score of this particular scale. If you want to the score to a 5-point scale, then you divide it by the number of statements, so that you will be able to get a score in between 1 and 5. Okay, that is the methodology by which you are expected to calculate the score. This is the theoretical explanation only. We can compute the average simply with the help of SPSS that I will teach you in the next class. Okay. See another scale. Scale for measuring propensity to trust. It's a scale developed by Gansberger and Kunz in the year 2010. Propensity to trust. Even if whatever be the services rendered by the service provider to customer, some people may not trust the service providers. That is based on their propensity to trust. Some people will immediately trust the service provider. Some other, it will be very difficult for some others to trust others. So here is a scale for measuring this propensity to trust. If you go through these statements, you simply look at the second statement. I keep my problems in, and there is a red mark that is R. It is a reverse statement. It's a negative statement. If you go through the 4 different statements, first of all, when I'm depressed, I look for friends who can prop me up. That shows if a person is strongly agreeing to that particular statement, that shows that person has the chance to trust others. When I am facing some trouble, I will look for somebody else for help only when I am trusting others. Okay, so that's a positive statement. And the third one, I'm interested in the opinion of other people about my problems. When I have some problems, if I'm interested in taking the opinion of a third party, maybe a friend, maybe a brother, maybe a sister, maybe somebody else, I will be ready to trust such a person. So this statement also shows the propensity to trust in a positive sense. And the last one is, it is difficult for me to take a decision without getting advice. If I will take a decision only after getting advice, that shows I used to trust those people who give me advice. These are all positive statements which actually positively influence the propensity to trust. Okay, was propensity to trust. But look at the second statement. I keep my problems in. When I have some problems and if I'm not willing to share it with others, why I'm not sharing? I'm not sharing because I don't believe others. Okay, so this is a negative statement. This is a negative statement. So while making analysis, the scores marked by, or the marking of the respondents must be reversed. That means if the person strongly agreed to the statement, I keep my problems in, instead of 5, 1 will be the score. If the person is strongly disagreeing, instead of 1, we will give 5. Okay, my dear friends, let me speak about the doubts actually raised by our participants. Highly important, given a value 7, and least important is 1. So highest mean value indicates highly important. Am I correct? Yes, exactly right. You are correct. I don't know exactly who has raised that particular opinion. You are exactly right. Highest mean value stands for the most important. Second question is how we can decide the most appropriate tool of analysis to be adopted for a particular question. Definitely, it's an interesting question, but I can't tell you exactly now, because all the sessions are designed for identifying the appropriate tools. Whenever we study different statistical tools like T, ANOVA, MANOVA, MANCOVA, regression, and so on, then I will definitely tell you in what circumstance that particular tool is to be adopted. Definitely, you listen, you be patient enough, you will get answer. Okay. How do I analyze a neutral ask on a question? How do I analyze a neutral on a question since it breaks the continuum? Okay, that's actually like a 0 it's a philosophical question, maybe a philosophical question. But while doing statistical analysis, a neutral point is actually an option where a respondent is not ready to answer. That means a respondent is not ready to answer. That is the meaning of that, not exactly the literary meaning of neutral. Okay, how can we measure that negative statements with other statements? The process is reversing. We will definitely see in the next session how to reverse. Processes are readily available in the SPSS. We can simply do it. Another question is how many objectives are ideal? How many? I would like to say that there is no standardized ideal situation. Some of the studies conducted in economics, which are being awarded Nobel Prize, are having only one objective. The number of objectives is immaterial. The objective should be significant. That is important. Okay. Then explain. Okay, definitely. Sixth question, that is explain reverse coding once more. I can tell you now how to reverse code a statement. The thing is that if there is a negative, when there is a scale for measuring a particular aspect or particular phenomenon, all the statements should be in the same direction. Sometimes one or two statements may be in the reverse order. So if we take the sum, that sum may not give a real picture of the scale. So the negative statements must be reverse coded. That means if the respondent is strongly agreeing, that is the highest possible degree of agreement in our instrument, strongly agreeing, and it is a negative statement, then it is considered as the least agreement, that is strongly disagreeing. Strongly agreeing is considered as strongly disagreeing, and strongly disagreeing is considered as strongly agreeing. So reversing the code, that is in case of strongly agree, normally we give 5 as the numerical value of that particular degree of agreement. But in case of a negative statement, if the respondent is strongly agreeing, in spite of or in place of 5, we will give 1 or the least 1. That depends on 5 or 1. That depends on. Okay. Now there is instead of following one measurement, can we build a measurement scale from multiple reviews? Should we note the references for each statement separately in theory chapter? The question is, what is your purpose? Are you really trying to study about different scales developed by different people? If this is the case, that is possible. And at the same time, you remember, there may be an option from your side. Sometimes different statements from different scales may be combined together to make a scale. Definitely, people are actually applying it. But be very careful, very, very careful. Am I eligible or am I capable to do that exercise? That is the question. If you have read a scale development article, original scale development article, you can see these people are actually selecting more than 10,000 samples. Sometimes it may be 25,000. That means scales are validated or selected and validated by taking a huge sample, sometimes from different parts of the world. Respondents are selected from different parts of the world. Says in some cases, I have seen some studies where the respondents ranged from 15,000 to 25,000, taken from different parts of the world. And the people who are actually developing these scales are experts in their field. Am I capable to modify a scale which is being developed by an expert through a rigorous process? That is the question to be answered by us when we modify. Okay. Okay, another question is when negative statement is referred. The purpose of a negative statement is actually the negative statement is like a hump in the road. A hump in the road. When you are moving at a faster pace, when you see a hump, you are driving a car, you are driving at 80 kilometers per hour. If you can see a hump in advance, what will you do? You will slow down. Similar exercise will be there in case of a negative statement. While looking at a negative, usually people will tick mark or mark the research instrument on a faster pace. But when they see a negative statement, they will be cautious. And this cautiousness will be there in the coming statements also. So negative statements are actually put in between positive statements to make the respondent more cautious, to read carefully. Okay, that is the purpose, basic purpose of putting negative statements. Okay, thank you for asking a very valuable question. Thank you so much. Then, should the steps followed for content validity be elaborated in the thesis or research paper? Definitely. In my thesis, if you visit my thesis in NG University, you can see the elaborated form of the content validation. And if you can read some journal articles, especially in International Journal of Bank Marketing, then Journal of Marketing and so on, some researchers are elaborately explaining the content validation process. That is good. That will give a special quality for your work. Then for occupation question, can we create two variables? Ask occupation of respondent and occupation of source. Yes, in the question given to you, you can create a variable for occupation of the respondent and another variable for occupation of the spouse or children. Okay, that's possible. Okay, any other question you can please ask. You may please ask questions. Okay, questions are over. Okay.